What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media, and you are listening to NBT Bank's On the Scene podcast, reaching over 250,000 listeners, readers of Jewish Ledger, WeHa.com, and West Hartford Magazine, live 24/7, 365. And today we have a special guest with us, as always. But before we do that, my co-host is Bob Carr, and I need to introduce Bob.
Thank you, Tom. I hope you're doing well today on this kind of rainy day.
Yeah.
Tom Hickey, along with myself, Coach McCarty, Ronnie Newton, are founders of WeHa.com and still partners in WeHa.com. Tom brings to West Hartford the Connecticut Jewish Ledger, West Hartford Magazine, which is West Hartford's original lifestyle magazine, the various tastes of West Hartford, the best of West Hartford, which will be celebrating its 10th anniversary this fall, and other fun events throughout the year. Our podcast is assembled and posted by the Modern Observer Group of Middletown, Connecticut. And today our guest is David Oliver from Diabetes with Dave. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks. Thanks for having me on today.
You're very welcome. So for just a quick question to start off with, you and I have chatted. We met at the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce. Dave and I actually, unbeknownst to either of us, worked together about 35, 40 years ago in a print shop. Yeah, it was so funny to find that out. So Dave, tell us a little bit about your personal diabetes journey and what you do with your organization, et cetera.
Okay, thanks. Well, I was diagnosed with diabetes 29 plus years ago. I was going in for some surgery, and you have to go through that pre-op thing. So during that testing, they found out that I had diabetes. They're not sure how much in advance I had diabetes before that, but they put it at right now I'm at like 29 years. That's why I always say 29 plus years. So it's been a long struggle. Like most people with diabetes, traditional medicine does not give you the proper information for you to be able to manage your diabetes well right from the start. So it took a long time for me to get things under control and in a healthy way, because you can let medication try to manage it for you, but it's our job as a human being to allow this body that we have to be able to heal itself. And if you give it the right stuff, it will do that. And that's what I've learned over the years. So, I've done that with a team of naturopaths who also helped me. I've been going to them for like 12 years now. And they've helped me with my education process, as well as digging a lot deeper to find out some of the underlying causes where I might have more stress and body stress and all that, and inflammation, insulin resistance, all that comes into it. And they helped me find that. So with the knowledge that I found on my own, as well as what the naturopaths have helped me with, they are now pushing me to start my own business. And so I started Diabetes Plus with Dave about two years ago. And I've been helping people with diabetes as my journey has evolved. I treat this like myself as a guinea pig for other people. So that's where I'm at today. And what I do now, I started out working with people with diabetes, one-on-one coaching, worked with quite a few people, type 1, type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes. And I'm just at a point now where my business is starting to change a little bit. And I'm doing a lot more speaking engagements because I feel that I need to spread the word to a broader audience. So I'm doing a lot more speaking engagements.
So here's your chance. Here's a broader audience, right, Bob? So what would you say to people?
Well, I like to keep my speaking engagements interactive. Um, so I have this all set up so that I ask people questions and I actually get some answers. And I kind of make it simple in the beginning, but nonetheless, it makes it interactive. And I want questions for them because that's why they came. They came to that speaking engagement to get information. So I want to give them the information that they are looking for. Because all of us with diabetes, whether you have diabetes or not, the information I have is good for good health. But I chose to work with people with diabetes because I'm diabetic. Um, and so I like to give them the information that they need so they can best manage their diabetes. If they choose to work one-on-one with me as a coach, that's fine. But what I try to tell them is seek out really good people and good education, uh, um, maybe some good professional people, some doctors, or I try to stress naturopaths. And with all that information, they can actually get their diabetes under control. When I was first diagnosed, I was almost 10%, a 10.0 is what they call A1C. I'm now registering as 6. So that's just about not diabetes.
Wow.
And but it's taken a long time, and it's work. It's work.
And
No,
again, if you had no idea until you went for the pre-op. That's
yeah, that's correct. I mean, I had it in my background. My family history had diabetes, but if I it the doctors never diagnosed it prior to that time, so we don't know how much in advance that I actually had diabetes,
and
and that's
how would someone, is it a blood test? Like, how do you know?
yeah, it's a blood test that you go in for. And they generally hook that up not just with your A1C testing, but they also hook that up with triglycerides and find out what your cholesterol is and all that stuff, because that all plays a part for diabetes. That the real big part with diabetes is it's not just diabetes. It leads to heart condition, cholesterol issues, um, uh, eye problems. You can go blind from that. Kidney issues and liver issues. Your liver gets taxed with diabetes. Your heart gets taxed with diabetes because as far as your heart goes, there's so much sugar in the bloodstream. It has to pump all that much harder to get the blood through your arteries, and that's why many people with diabetes have nerve problems with their feet, because the heart has a difficult time getting that blood down there. And it was really something. There was a seminar that I attended, and they had 2 test tubes, actually 3 test tubes, and in it was simulated blood. And in each test tube, one was just like natural with someone that didn't have diabetes. Another one had it with a fairly well managed diabetes, and the other one was unmanaged diabetes. And when they tipped these test tubes over, the person that was unmanaged diabetes, it was going down. When they tipped it over, the fluid was going down very, very, very slowly, and that's to simulate just how slowly that glucose goes through there and how it clogs things up. The heart has to work so much harder. So that was eye-opening for me, because my family also has a history of heart problems. So what does that tell me? A lot of my family went undiagnosed. They had the heart problem, and then all of a sudden they found out, oh, he has diabetes. And so many of the men in my life passed early at an early age. It's the silent killer.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's not funny, but I've heard a lot, or quite often, with people who you hear them diabetes with it, but who have lost a toe or or something like that, and I really never understood why. So thank you for that explanation.
Yeah. It's
Well,
it's one of the issues. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, what common mistakes? I mean, as you mentioned it before, but if you didn't know you had it, But once you're diagnosed, what are like the mistakes people make when after they're diagnosed that they think they're doing right, or they're following a path that may not be healthful?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, because everybody's there. I was there, and uh, the first thing is, at least with my family, what happened was they all thought this was a death sentence, and people were in tears, and I'm the type of guy, and always have been, that, well, I'm not going to let it beat me. And so I made it my business to get out there and find out as much information as I could, whether it was online, asking other people that had diabetes. Um, Not everybody manages it well, but you got ideas. And that was the big thing for me. That's what started my journey. But once I started with internet, and it was so much information, um, and you have to kind of filter out the good with the bad, because everybody thinks they have the greatest idea, and in actuality, there's it, not one thing works for everybody. So that's the problem with this disease. It's not cookie cutter. There's not a magic pill. They'll give you a magic pill. They'll give you insulin, but that's a band-aid. That's not treating the problem. And I think that's where many people go wrong, because that's what traditional medicine tells them. That's why I went out and sought out naturopathic help, because I knew they were going to get to the root of the problem and really get me on a path to where I need to go. So I think that's the biggest thing for anybody with diabetes. If they don't have a naturopath, they really should get one.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's nonstop. It's nonstop education. I haven't stopped yet. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to get better at it. And in doing so, I can help other people help them manage their diabetes better as well.
So what
Is
kind
there,
of
is there
questions
any
are you
one
asked?
thing that stands out that would help help any of our listeners who may or may not know that they're diabetic? Is something that you did, was it
Yeah.
a diet change? Was it all those crazy misconceptions that are out there?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is you need to be proactive about your health, whether you have diabetes or not. And it's always good to have your primary care physician, when they do the blood work, to include an A1C check. It's important to ask for it, because many of them don't do it, because they figure, if you're not telling me that you're urinating a lot, you're tired all the time, and those are some symptoms for diabetes, but that's symptoms for many other things as well. That's what makes it tough. And I think that's because I don't want to trash traditional medicine, because there's a huge need for traditional medicine. Uh, I just think that holistic and natural ways can partner with traditional medicine for the benefit of the patient. So yeah, they they really need to ask for that test to see. And to me, once a year, the insurance companies cover it. So why not get a check on it and be proactive about it? And you can tell your physician, I I would like to have this test done once a year, especially if you have a family history of diabetes in your family somewhere, because a lot of times it'll skip generations. And there are also some people that say, I've never had any diabetes in my family tree whatsoever. And the sad part is what people don't understand is that it probably had diabetes, but it went undiagnosed. So that person passed away and never got the diagnosis of having diabetes in the first place. But they might have succumbed to the problems that came from having diabetes. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing.
Other than research, is there any one thing that you did in the very beginning that was, more, other than taking pills, that was more natural? Is there anything that you could share that comes
It
to
was
mind?
it was hit and miss for me,
Okay.
but it was a complete changeover of my lifestyle, and it was a journey. It evolved. It was like step by step. I learned a little bit. I tried it. Oh wow, that worked. My numbers came down. Or I changed the type of food I eat. Like instead of my culture is all about rice, pasta, potatoes, all that kind of stuff. And when you're on diabetes, you can't have that kind of thing. So as I started to change my diet, I could see my numbers coming down. I said, oh, my numbers didn't go up that far. So that food probably was a better thing for me to eat. So I kept a journal. I jotted all this stuff down so I had valuable information to look at later on. And that's probably the second biggest thing that I can say to anyone out there is if you get diagnosed, you need to continually check your blood glucose levels all the time, whether it's sticking your finger and putting a little drop of blood on a strip that goes into a meter to read your glucose at that moment in time, or to have a continuous glucose monitor where you can get that information without sticking your finger every 3 or 4 hours. That continuous glucose monitor will give you that information every 5 minutes. Wow. So you stay up to date, and you can actually see, I just ate, and now a half hour or an hour later, my numbers went sky high. Okay, well, there was something in that food that made that happen. Jot it down. What did I have for that? For that meal, and try to figure out what was it there that made it spike up. So what they need to look at is not calories, as most people will tell you. It's carbohydrates and sugars. And then thirdly, it's the ingredients that's in there. So if it's a plant-based thing, there's no label on vegetables, right? It's either organic, non-organic, but it's a vegetable. And where all these other things have food labels. So that's where you have to be careful. Something has a label on it, a nutritional label, you need to really look at that nutritional label, see what the carbs are, see what the sugars are, and then also look at the ingredients. Because a lot of times, first or second on that list could be cane sugar. And that's a no-no. Cane sugar is going to make it spike up. There are other sweeteners out there that people use that's much healthier, like stevia, monk fruit. Those kind of things are pretty safe bets for people with diabetes. So it's a process of looking at that, deciphering what that nutritional label is, and what the ingredients are. That's kind of what I do when I do one-on-one coaching, or even some of my educational classes. That's what I do. I'll teach people how to read a nutritional label and what to look for. The other thing I help people with, even in my talks, is throughout my journey, I treat myself as the guinea pig, and I try out different products to see how can I substitute, because I love rice. So is there something I can have that I'll really like and satisfy me as much as rice did? And many people turn to rice cauliflower, which is fabulous. That's a great way of getting extra vegetables into your system. But the texture was different and the flavor was different because it still had the cauliflower flavor. But I found something that's called Skinny. And it's called Skinny Rice, actually, but the brand name is Skinny. And that actually, it does not touch my numbers. When I cook with it, I can make it taste any way I want. So if I want it to be Italian, I can make it taste Italian. If I want it to be Asian, it'll taste Asian, because it takes on whatever flavors and whatever spices and stuff that you put into it. So it's a great product. And ice cream is another one for a lot of people. And there are ice creams out there that are low carb and very low sugar, because they use different kinds of sweeteners. So it's out there. The information's out there. You just got to seek it out. You got to kind of be a detective.
When it comes to sugar, sorry, Tom, I know you see sugars, the added sugars. There's some natural sugars that are within a fruit, right? Or, but then there's the added sugars, which are probably what are the more devastating to your system, I would suspect.
Yeah. Anything processed, whether it's sugar, it's processed sugar, any processed food whatsoever. I tell everybody, the aisles in the middle of the grocery store, stay away from. So go to either side. So you can hit the dairy section or you can hit the produce section. But all that stuff in between, just stay away from it.
Mm.
It's so unhealthy. There's nothing healthy in there.
Mm.
That's the problem with our the U.S. right now, is that we are one of the most obese countries in the world. And when our style of food hits countries that have been doing well as far as diabetes, heart problems, and all that, when that food is introduced into that community, their numbers go up. They become very unhealthy. The blue zones, I'm sure you've heard of blue zones. And these blue zones are not blue zones anymore because our Western diet has gotten into their communities. And some of those their diabetes numbers are through the roof. Obesity is way up.
Wow.
So it's the type of food that we're eating. We're giving ourselves the wrong food. We're putting the wrong food in. So we can't expect good things if we're putting the bad stuff in.
So how do people reach you, Dave? If they want to talk to you, they want to ask for your help, they want to attend one of your seminars or sessions, how would they hunt you down?
Well, my website is diabetespluswithdave.com.
Okay.
And that's probably the easiest way to get to me, because on there's my phone number, my email contact, and also upcoming speaking engagements and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's
Plus
probably
you spell that right.
easiest.
You spell plus out, right?
No, yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Diabetes
one more
plus
time,
out.
Dave, for us, for everybody.
Yeah, it's www.diabetes plus spelled out withdave.com.
Yeah, very cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish we had even more time, but we could always have you back to talk more. I think the takeaway, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is to make sure everyone asks their physician to test them for diabetes, because that's something that, like you said, standard blood tests may or may not tell you what you need to know.
Yeah, right. They have to ask for the correct thing, and it's our job as a human to give that information to our PCP, your primary care physician, whoever you're seeing, and have them do the right test. Ask for that A1C test.
Love it. Great. In the meantime, we'll try to take care of our human bodies, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's it. So, all righty. Well, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for tuning in, everyone. And without further ado, we really need to thank and acknowledge again NBT Bank for being our sponsor, because without them, this would not be possible. So we appreciate their support, their continued support. This is the second year, right, Bob?
Yeah, we're going to our second year.
That they renewed their sponsorship for our podcast. So stay tuned, and we will see you next time on The Scene.
Thanks.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top-rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.